What about you? Today we're going to be talking about the worst thing you can do to your lawn in the winter. Now, if you're new to lawn care, you might have a question, can you cut your lawn in the winter? Yes, of course you can cut your lawn in the winter, following some simple guidelines. We call it the 1/3 rule. Never take any more than 1/3 off your grass. This is especially important in the winter. You're just looking to take the tip of the grass off just to tidy it up. You're not looking to shave your grass down or cut it short. To show you what came out of it, probably more leaves than anything else. A lot of leaves, a bit of grass, just freshens it up. Now we're going to go and look and have a talk about different fertilizers, or what fertilizer you should be using in the winter and what you shouldn't and why. This is a question that came up on the Premier Lawns Facebook community page. Now, if you're not a member, I'm going to leave a link down below. The question was, why does it seem that people only use products like iron in the winter and not granular fertilizers? And can you put on the wrong type of feed and cause your lawn any damage? Now, to answer that question, I'm going to go back to basics. But by the way, do you like the new studio? Now, if you look on any bag of fertilizer, they're usually 3 letters: N, P, K. Now, the way I remember that, an easy way to remember that, is to think of it as up, down, and all around. Or, if you were a gardener, shoots, roots, and fruits. Now, if you think back to your school days, for some of us, I know it was a bit longer than others, there are 3 primary macronutrients that plants need in order to grow. Nitrogen, or N for short, is important for the development of leaves and stems. If you add nitrogen, a lot of nitrogen to your lawn, it's going to go green and it's going to grow quickly. If you add a lot of nitrogen, it's going to grow fast. Phosphorus, or P, is necessary for root growth on your lawn, and it helps plants flower in your garden. And lastly, potassium, or K, that helps with the overall resistance for disease and your plant health. That's the very basics of NPK. If you're enjoying this video, folks, don't forget to smash that like button because it really helps me out. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Let's get on with it. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video about the 1/3 rule, and the 1/3 rule is especially important in the winter. I'm going to explain all that to you now. I've come into the back garden to show you. So you can see here in the winter, your lawn starts to turn yellow and pale, and this can be caused by a lack of sunlight. You can clearly see that there's a lot of shade in this garden. Now, during the winter months, the sun isn't as high in the sky and the days are shorter, which means that your lawn doesn't get as much sunlight. If you think about how your lawn makes and stores energy, some science here for you. Grass absorbs sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide through the leaves. Using these inputs, the grass produces energy-rich carbohydrates such as sugars and starches through the process of photosynthesis. The grass uses some of that energy from the carbohydrates to power its growth. Any of these excess carbohydrates are stored in the roots and the leaves. So this is why it's really important to follow the 1/3 rule. As in your winter, your lawn needs to make and store a limited amount of energy. But I digress. Let's get back to the studio. I got a little bit off track there, so let's get back to the fertilizer and why you shouldn't apply a high nitrogen fertilizer to your lawn in the winter months. Now, applying high nitrogen fertilizers in the winter can encourage the growth of lots of weak leaves, shallow roots, and that's going to be more susceptible from frost. You're going to cause damage from frost and other stresses. If you apply nitrogen in the colder months, that's going to lead up to the build-up of our old enemy, thatch. And that's going to make the grass more susceptible to disease. Now, grass goes into a dormant state. You know yourself, the grass doesn't grow as much during the winter, which means it's not as actively growing and it doesn't need as much sunlight or nutrients to survive. So how do we make it green? We do that with iron. Now iron, for anyone that doesn't know, is essentially a micronutrient. Now iron helps with the production of chlorophyll, and that's the pigment that enables the plants to absorb sunlight and turn it into energy through photosynthesis without causing that excessive growth that you get from the nitrogen. Great. So, how do you apply iron? This is the easy part. Now, I'm going to say that there's a few different ways you can apply iron to your lawn, but today I'm going to focus on the two easiest ways. So, you can either use a product like this. This is a soluble granular iron, and this one here is a liquid version. How much to use? So for our American viewers, it's generally recommended that you put on between 1 and 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet, or for us here in the UK, it's approximately between 1 and 2.5 grams per square meter. Now, if you're unsure, put it on at the lower rate. If you put it on a lower rate, you're going to get that nice green up. It's going to green up the lawn. If you put it on a higher rate, then it's also going to blacken the moss and give you some moss control. However, what I would really important to say is always read the label. Follow that advice before you take my advice. Follow the label and do your own research, because some of the products are different. Now, if you're new to lawn care, just start at the lower rate and work your way up. Now, I would also, if you're going to be new to lawn care and it's your first time to try and green up your lawn, then maybe think about the liquid stuff, because it's going to be easier for you. Now we know the best product to put on the lawn. Let's do that now.